What's going on, everybody? Geek back here with a quick commentary on Xbox Series X versus the Xbox Series S. I did put X first because, you know what? I'm not going to keep you in suspense. I'm going to be getting a Series X. If you want to know why, you'll have to watch all the video. But it is, I did be getting a lot of questions on my Discord and my streams. By the way, I stream on Mondays and Wednesdays and Thursdays on Twitch. You can hook me up. Usually in there, we can talk about tech, we talk about games, we can talk about security, or barbecue. Usually in the evenings. Or you can hit me up in the comments below. I do want to know, I'm very interested in what console you're going to go with specific to Xbox if you're getting an Xbox. If you're getting a PS5, I'd like to know about that too, because I'm going to end up with both a Series X and a PS5 eventually. Anyways, the purpose of this video is to figure out what the differences are, because I'm getting asked a lot of questions. I know there's a lot of YouTube videos out there already covering this conversation, but let's just go ahead and jump into it and figure out why the geek here is going to go with a Series X over a Series S, even though it's $200 more. All right, so we all know that Microsoft hit the market, freaking phenomenal marketing, positioning a console at $300, $299 and change plus taxes, right? Not a problem. Where the Series X is going to be $499. Here's a breakdown. I want to make a comment real quick. This black box, this is not a speaker, everybody. There's been a couple of people said, "What's the speaker doing on top? Is that a Bose?" I was like, "It's not a speaker. That is a thermal vent for cooling the system." It's 60% smaller than the Series X, uses a little bit less power. So there's less thermal concern, but it still needs to be able to vent that stuff. The concern I have over thermals for both the new consoles, both the Xbox and the PS5, is the graphics cards, the new GPUs. Are they got enough vents? Do they have proper placement? Do they have enough heat sinks? And are the fans good quality fans? Are they cheap fans because of the pricing? Is it going to generate a lot of noise? We won't know that until we have the consoles out, but that's a whole different topic. So if we come down, we want to know what the differences between the two are. I'm not going to go through all of the mumbo jumbo that is on the screen. Let me get it smaller there. All right. So, same processor, CPU. We're just going to make this down and dirty. Series X, Series S has the exact same processor, 8-core AMD Zen 2 CPU, 3.8 gigahertz. Not a problem. There is a slight deviation for the SMTP enabled. The Series X is 3.6 and the Series S drops down to 3.4. Very nominal differences when it comes down to it. The GPU is where we see the biggest difference. Both of them running AMD RDNA 2. However, the Series X has 52 cores at 1.825 gigahertz, while the Series S is less than half of that at 20 cores and 1.56 gigahertz. Grand scheme of things, this is probably where the power flops comes in and where your 4K 60 frames per second at 120 hertz versus 1440p at 60 frames per second, 120 hertz comes into play. Now, the GPU power means 12 teraflops. That's a lot, by the way, versus 4 teraflops. And for those that are curious, the Microsoft Xbox One X had 6 teraflops, okay? You'll notice the Series X has 2 less. Is it a big deal? It's a potential power. It's not fully utilized yet, nor I don't believe anywhere near remotely utilized. It's just a capability that you're going to be able to push. Will it come into effect, or will it be impactful later on when game developers and Microsoft and PS5 or Sony and all that stuff discontinue support for older consoles, when the Xbox One X or One S or the PS4 or the PS4 Pro become obsolete? When they say, all right, we're not going to develop on these platforms anymore, we're not going to support these platforms anymore, we're going to fully just dig into these newer ones and push our limits, which is what I'm hoping for, because because consoles have been holding back game development. While the PCs have been ready to, with the new NVIDIA 3000 cards, the new RDN cards, which we need more information on from AMD, removing a lot of the bottlenecks, it's going to be interesting to see what the future holds development-wise. That said, is the difference between 12 teraflops and 4 teraflops per bit. It's pretty big. Is the potential impact to us immediate? I have no idea. RAM, 16 gigs versus 10 gigs. So it's significant for me. That's a big drop. 6 gigs is difference, especially when you're bottlenecking throughputing and opening, closing, and all this other stuff. 4K at 60 versus 1440. Now, if you're a gamer and you stream and you have your Xbox hooked up to your monitors and not a regular TV, I don't think I think that's very different. But I think most people now I know do actually have a 4K TV now. I'd like to know in the comments what you're going to play on. Are you going to play on a monitor? Or are you going to play on a TV? Do you want to play at 4K? Or do you mind with 1440? Differences aren't all that big. I game on my PC gaming box at 1440 and stream at 1080p. It doesn't really bug me too much. I don't really notice any difference. But if I'm going to buy a box that I don't want to have to replace again in the future, 4K, that's where I'm going to go. The next one is the storage. This is where it really, really hits the pocketbooks. So this is the caveat that I have. The Series X comes with 1 terabyte internal storage, where the Series S comes with 512. Now, my kid's Xbox has a 500 gig internal hard drive. It has an external hard drive hooked up to it because 500 gigs is not big enough at all. And you combine that with the fact that there is no disk drive in the Series X or the Series S. No disk drive in the Series S. So you were 100% reliant on your digital network. If you have a shared media that you're going to open up through it, if you have good internet, and if you don't want to expand, you're going to have to uninstall, reinstall. Now, for a lot of us big time gamers, I only have like 5 or 6 games, 4 or 5 games actually that I play at a time. Most of my stuff's on PC, so if I have to uninstall a game and make more room, maybe. It's inconvenient and I don't really care for it. But that could work around it. But keep in mind, for these to work, you're going to end up spending anywhere from 50 to 100, 115 bucks to get yourself a 1 terabyte external drive. Because if you buy a 500 gig external drive, don't. It's not worth the investment or the return. Get a 1 terabyte drive, hook that up. You're going to look, so all of a sudden you take a $300 box and you're jumping up to $400. Now, if you're going to buy it and you're on a budget, I get all that, not a problem. Just know that you're going to have to rotate your games in and out. You're going to have to be very specific on your game management. Okay. They both use internal storage, the PCI 4 NVMe SSD, not a problem. Good with that. Good speeds. Not as fast as PS5. Not as fast. These guys are running 2.5 gigs uncompressed, 4.8 gigs compressed, whereas PS5 runs 5.5. So, again, that's the one area that PS5 does really excel on. Not in a console war debate, because I'll end up both of them. Backwards compatibility. They both do thousands of Xbox One. Backward compatibility on the Xbox 360. Not all 360s. They didn't say which ones, but it sounds like a fair amount. And original Xbox games at launch, backwards compatibility accessories. I do like that. My understanding from reading all this, and I can't wait to get one to test it to verify it, is my webcam will work. Potentially an external USB Blu-ray drive will work as well. So if you get on a budget and you can get in your bad rural area, you don't have the best internet, you only get 5 megs by like 2.5 megs up or something like that on your home network because you live in the country or you're in a not so great network covered area, or you have a lot of people with devices on in your house. That could potentially be a downfall of the system because people like to stream. I do everything digital. I haven't bought physical discs in a long time. And I do computers for a living. I don't buy them. Everything's USB, digital download, Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, YouTube, whatever. I don't really buy discs anymore. I just don't. So you keep that in mind. So the HDMI 2.1 on both of them, that's fantastic. Better bandwidth, especially for us streamers and things going down the road that we can talk about in a different video. To summarize, the reason I'm getting the Series X, more storage at purchase. You're doubling your storage at purchase time. I have 16 gigs of RAM more teraflops when they do push that. Plus, I want to be able to game at 4K at 60 frames per second and use my Odyssey drive monitor here in front of me and use the 4K for it. That's the whole reason we're moving forward. I don't want to buy a system that I'm going to have any regrets having bought. If you are on a budget, though, and you just something you're casually doing, most of your stuff's on a PC. I like. Then you're just fine. If your kids are just going to play a couple of games, that's fine. If it's just something you're going to rotate through, that's fine. For what we have now, I think you're going to be pretty dang okay with the Series X. Again, or a Series S. For me, the Series X is where I'm going to go. I don't have to purchase twice. I don't have to buy a bunch of or any external storage right away to try and get me to where I need to be. I'll probably end up getting some later down the road. I'll end up probably with 2 Series X, believe it or not, because one of the things I like about the Microsoft Xbox specifically is not only is it for gaming, but it is a fantastic media family kind of console that's, I can get a couple of them running in my house, share games between them. The kids can be all over the place. I can have mine. The kids can have their profiles. We can start using the Family Ultra X plan, all this other stuff that I believe is coming out. So I have no problems. Plus, we can share movies and everything. I'm really, really well versed on that. I can't do any of that. I can barely do hardly any of that with the PS5 or the PS4s that I have. So that's why I'm a proponent for it. Plus, reality is I will get a PS5. I'm not attacking Sony at all. They have some really cool exclusives that are still coming out. I don't care about Spider-Man. Thank you. If you're bringing up Spider-Man, just see your way out of that conversation. I don't really care. The whole reason I bought Avengers, well, I didn't buy Avengers, it was gifted to me. But I got Avengers, was given to me on PC, and my son wanted to play it really, really bad. So I got it for him on Xbox, not the PS, is because the whole drama over the Spider-Man copyrights and all that stuff, I don't care. I'm done with it. I don't want it. So it's beat me down as a customer, as a consumer, as a fan, a diehard Spider-Man fan. It just disgusts me, but here it is. But that's sorry, squirrel. Sony exclusives are becoming less and less of a thing. Like you'll notice a lot of their exclusives are now launching on their PS systems and the PC. Not on Xbox, but on the PC. And I'm a PC gamer, so I don't really worry about that stuff so much. Ramping back down, getting focused here again. Series X. It's a little bit, at the end of the day, it's going to be, the GPU is twice as powerful. You got more teraflops, 3 times as teraflops. 6 gigs, about 40% more RAM, or 60%, well, 65, somewhere around there. More RAM. I can't math today. Twice the storage. Everything else is about the same. One has disk, one doesn't. I never use the disk, so I don't really care about that part. Thermal management and the size. So it's really up to you what you're going to do. Mine is going to sit on a shelf behind toys, so no one can see it, so I don't really care. But at the end of the day, they also have a payment plan from Microsoft where you can do $24.99 a month if you qualify, no down payments or anything. And I think it's like 24 months or something like that. I don't remember how long it goes. I can't maths today. And you'll be able to get a Series X or a Series S to your house with a payment plan of $25. So it depends on what you're after. If that's something the feature needs, then go for it. I'm not ripping on the Series X, nor will I rip on anyone else that gets a Series S, because it's a good box. For $300, it's a pretty decent box. It's going to play all the games that we have now, all the future games that are coming out. Down the road, is it something that you wish you might have had the RDNA, the bigger GPU on? Is it something you're going to wish you had the more RAM on, the more storage? That's something you have to ask yourself. Also, be mindful of your internet connectivity, because no digital drive, if it supports a USB Blu-ray drive, then that's not so bad, but be mindful of that one as well. I did not see anything, and I haven't read anything. A lot of the new motherboards and stuff, when you get them, the network connectivity on it, the port on them is now 2.5 gigabits. My guess is these are still 1, but and I never game over wireless, just FYI. You definitely don't want to play wireless on that Series S. Because it's all digital, but that's up to you. If you have really good wireless and you're not different story, different case. Anyways, if you got questions, hit me up in the comments below. Again, I stream on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on Twitch. In the evenings, you can hit me up, ask me questions there. I'd be more than happy to pause the game, switch over to just chatting. We can talk about this. We did it a couple times. We're going to be talking more about the 3000 as it's getting more and more information, and we're going to be breaking down 3000 versus RDN2 from Big Navi from AMD, what that's going to mean, when that's going to come out. There's a lot more information that's circulating October. So again, I love the questions, or you can always hit me up in Twitter. All that information is in the description down below. That being said, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and keep your family safe, stay out of trouble, and happy gaming. And I will see you in game.